Hey, thanks for checking us out, everybody. Much appreciated. Tobin here with you. And Miami Dolphins joint practice today against the Houston Texans. You had a little reunion there between Mike McDaniel and D'Amico Ryan meeting over there in the Houston Heat. They said it was burning there. There was it's crazy. I couldn't imagine any place being hotter than here. I was just in Vegas, which was just like a crispiness to it, but when you're here, it's listen, I'm a fat man. You got to have like 2 wardrobes to get through a day down here. It's soupy as hell. But a lot's been made. It's been interesting. This offense does feel like it's been on a little bit of a roller coaster over the last couple of weeks. Everybody's kind of freaking out. I do like the fact that we are at a time though where it doesn't feel like we have to micromanage and analyze everything that is going on with this offense. Maybe I'm just, a little bit more relaxed going into this year. But I think we saw what this thing is capable of being. And maybe it's just the fact that this Dolphins offense was explosive and fun for the first time in God knows how long. But, seeing some of the things that are going over the last, they haven't gotten it together. They're not looking that great. Then, of course, you had that bleep show that was the preseason game where they could have put up any points. It was a disaster in the red zone every trip down there. And everybody's also, of course, worried about the pre-snap penalties and all that stuff and cleaning stuff up. And I get that. I'm not saying they're not legitimate concerns and I'm not here for them. I just think that it's kind of a weird thing to get crazy about in the midst of practice because it's practice, to quote the great Allen Iverson. It's like we're going to get nutty about this when they're working things out, trying things out, getting used to each other. Guys are in, guys are out. Guys are trying to earn jobs. Guys really can't get after the quarterback the same, or you don't really know why they're working situations out or working things out. So I don't know. I haven't been in that place where things are getting crazy. And actually, it was funny. I was listening to Terron Armstead today, and I thought that he had pretty much the best thoughts on it right now with where things are at. And Terron Armstead been around the block. He was talking about this today, where he's like, you really can't compare our situation to what I was in New Orleans, where it was like Sean Payton, Drew Brees, old, been together forever. We've been together forever. Continuity. We're making a big deal out of the idea that it's like, oh, this is year 2. Everything should be crisp. Everything should just be amazing. And, he was explaining today that he's just like, you can't even look at that and fathom the idea that this is all coming together in just 2 years. Sometimes stuff takes time.
It's kind of hard to say. I was in a regime that had a lot of consistency with the quarterback and the head coach, and it wasn't many changes to that offense. So we would kind of jump in and pick up where we left off in a sense. This being a new scheme, still pretty new to everybody. So it's a lot of details that you just have to practice and get them reps and experience in order to adjust and learn how to operate. New guys on the edges. New guys up front, all that is all about the chemistry and cohesiveness.
It's one of those things where it's just like they were talking this summer about the idea of people didn't know the language, and it's like now everybody kind of speaks it, but now it's about you speak it, you execute it all the right way, and hopefully that's going to go out there and it's going to limit pre-snap penalties, and that's not going to be such a thing. But look, pre-snap penalties aside, and it was a frustrating thing. I don't think it should be looked upon as hey, this is the thing it was a crippling thing. I think this is definitely something you could look upon and say hey, it's improved upon. And I feel like sometimes a thing, when one thing becomes overwhelmingly a point of emphasis that you want to get at, I almost feel like it could suffocate some people. It can make them tight in certain ways. And certainly with Mike McDaniel, he is looking to move a lot of people. He's trying to road deception. He's trying to get people into space and all those types of things. And the man, I think you could just hear the gears as the man speaks. The guy has a lot of things that he wants to get out there and he wants to execute, but he does feel like he's got the right guy doing it. And Armstead was even, and I'll get to back to him in just a second, but Armstead's got this kind of had this calmness to all of it for the guy who's really the most veteran presence on that team. But Tua was asked today by Dolphins sideline reporter Kim Bokamper, of course, badass wings, former Dolphin, massive man, wouldn't want to fight him. And he was talking to him about, I guess he did an interview with Mike McDaniel. He does the Mike McDaniel show on Bally Sports. And if you guys haven't seen this, a lot of the times they'll like go over some plays of the game beforehand, kind of describe it. You'll catch it like early on a Sunday morning or something like that. And they were discussing the play calls and like, trying to get things in and out, and where if Tua needs to like get things done faster and more efficiently, and if that was a cause of some things. Anyway, here was the exchange.
Last year, it seemed at times it was tough getting your play calling in.
Yeah.
Because he's got long play calls. And I
Correct.
asked him about it last week, and he said, they're still the same play calls. I haven't shortened them. He's just counting on you being better versed with them to be able to get it out and into
Correct.
the huddle. Would you like to see it trimmed down a little bit?
Well, I would say it's a blessing and a curse, because you do want all these indicators, because it sort of tells us what the defense is in and whatnot. So, but then to that point, it's the clock's going down and it's long, and I would say the thing is we like, for us in the quarterback room, there's sometimes where you just have to memorize the play, where when it's coming in, you're like, okay, you're saying it while he's like not even finishing it.
So, like, I'll get into the rest of this in just a second, but like, yeah, it's one of these things where it's like, well, would you like him to change where he is? It's like, I don't think that's we're going like a little extreme on this stuff, because again, we're going back to the spot with like, this wasn't a complete disaster last year. I think we're overreaching on some of this stuff, and I'm not bashing Bo for the question. It's a completely fair, fine question, because it's a great follow-up, by the way, of a conversation you've had with the coach. But it's like, I think the coach, if we're going to be comfortable with anything on this team right now, it's how Tua and Mike McDaniel operate. We've even gotten some, window in that, even some of the mic'd ups, where it's just like, they clearly have a good rapport about, hey, what do you want to work? I want to work. What do you think is going to work best? He's not, he's not demanding of things. He's not uncomfortable on the things that Mike McDaniel's asking of it. So, I think it can be like looked upon as a little bit, demeaning. Would you like it? Would you like it simplified? I'm not saying that Bokamper was trying to do that or nothing like that, but I can see why people would take it that way, especially if they don't know, hey, this is like a guy who's talking to the coach every single week. He talks to the quarterback every single week. He's boots on the ground, But people, I know in this national TV jet up type of era we are, they'll feast on this like a bunch of piranhas.
This year to last year, have you gotten to that point where you hear it and and you don't have to?
Well, I would say yes and no. It's a little tough. I can give you guys a play, and then if you guys want to repeat it after me, as if you guys were in the huddle, you guys can. All right. Should I go once or twice saying it? Once? All right. We got North Right Clamp, South Fox, H-Top, Pass 38, Top Gumby, XP Sweat. Let's go. Anyone?
Break.
I got sounds like a false start to us.
Yeah, sounds like a pre-snap penalty to me. Oh my gosh.
Listen, if you got the media out there, it's definitely going to be people going. But look, man, I don't think that there's. I think Tua showed himself to be completely capable of running this offense last year. I thought, his grasp of it was really good, and look, at times, I think one of the things is like, look, there was definitely a part of the year where I think defense is caught up on some stuff because they're just learning this. And so I'm not saying like the Dolphins got to learn their counter punches. They got to learn their ways to adjust too. They can't just go with the same thing that's going to kill teams over and over and over again, but also on top of it, like, Jesus, come on, man. They got two of the most dynamic weapons in the league alongside a quarterback who's a pretty damn good distributor of it. So I was not, sweating the idea that like, oh my God, Mike McDaniel's plays are so long. Now with Skylar Thompson, yes, like that, I was like, oh man, this just it definitely felt like it with that. But like you're talking about a rookie quarterback who is being thrown into the wool, and like he clearly doesn't seem like he's able to get the ball out as quickly, because I don't think people appreciate while Tua can maybe extend some plays sometimes and get a little like, man, the guy when he makes his decisions on things can get it out there quick and get things rolling for this team. So I was just like, look, I was like, I mean, I think we're getting just a little overwhelmed with stuff right now. And I don't know what's going to put that aside, because I don't know if joint practices will do that. I don't know if a great preseason series is going to do that for anybody. I certainly would like to, get a little peeky poo with some of this stuff. And I will say, one of the things that's been interesting about this with Mike McDaniel is it does feel like he's got some grasp of he wants to sharpen some things up. Like, that's why he calls another practice for a Sunday, and it doesn't go great, but they bounce back. And what if they would have had that bad practice on Monday, and then they have to travel to Houston, then they got to take on other competition. So I do actually think that Mike McDaniel in the second year has a good grasp and a good pulse of like when he thinks his team needs to sharpen some things up, when he thinks they need to work on some things. And, also on a certain level, there are certain practices they haven't had Jalen Waddle, they haven't had other receivers out there, Braxton Berrios. There've been other guys that have been in and out, and that's the other thing of camp is like you have all these bodies out there early on. You're learning stuff. Defense typically gets a jump on things too. So I just feel like at a point I'm not gonna go and push any panic buttons. Maybe if like Tua goes out there, like I know we ended practice. Like imagine last year Tua ending a practice with a pick six. What that would have been. Like the things that they would have tried to make that last year, people would have gone mental with that. Oh my God, Tua ended the joint practice on a pick six. Would have been like a week's worth of sports radio, week's worth of debate shows about this Tua ended on a pick six. Is he the answer? I don't feel like that's the case this year. It's like, Tua got picked off in a practice. It's practice. Cares? Like it would have Aaron Rodgers. They like put up on the screen the other day. It was like, Aaron Rodgers had 9 straight incompletions in practice. Who cares? It's practice. It's not a rookie QB. It's like one of those things where it's like, once your quarterback can be good in a season, this whole practice stuff kind of loses its luster. It doesn't have the same weight that it did last year. And that's a good thing. As you shouldn't be living and dying with every, beat reporter's tweet and columnist tweet about it. Because with your own 2 eyes, you're like, I've seen this. This has been good. We all saw it last year. We're like, this offense, when it's healthy, when it's together, when Tua, Armstead, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle are out there, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And Terron Armstead gave some voice to this today.
I like today. We've been having some challenges, some struggle. More so just the timing and just the vibe of the offense, trying to run that operation and make it run like a machine. And we haven't been able to do that the way that we have grown accustomed to when we're rolling. Today felt normal. It felt more normal. Still had some hiccups, of course, but from an operation standpoint, it felt like a real offense.
Yeah, man. Like when the vet is saying that, when the captain is saying that about your team, and is one of the real leaders of the team, and he spoke on a lot of stuff today about like the leadership of the team and the importance of these players having accountability and running the locker room and all that type of stuff. Like I was like, wow, Armstead's not concerned. Like who is anybody to be concerned about where things are at, especially going into the second preseason game, for God's sakes, where Tua is probably going to play, I don't know, 3 series at the most, a handful of series at the most, but like most likely probably a couple, and that's it. And then we'll see you for the dress rehearsal next week. Like that's probably what's going to happen. I don't know for sure, but just following logic. I know Mike McDaniel left it a little open-ended today, but I don't know, man. I just feel like I just don't feel like as Dolphins, you got to be as concerned as you were and live and die with everything as much as it was last year, because there hasn't been a lot of turnover on the offense. Like if there was a whole new offensive line and not one position to really figure out, not really a concern with tight end because they don't really use the tight end like that. So I'm not really concerned with that. And the one thing you didn't really know about is Devon Achane, and he's looked pretty damn good. So I don't know, man. I'm just not in this place where I got this sense of anxiety with the Dolphins like last year. It was like, oh my God, was that ball underthrown? Was it overthrown? Was that Not at that point.